Welcome back to the Amazon FBA Sourcing Success Guide. And in this video, we're going to go over some tips that you'll need to know as you start to source material in order to sell in your Amazon FBA business. Now, one thing that you want to start thinking about when you're actually going to buy and purchase things for resale is you want to know that you are going to be able to mark up the item about 200%. That is a standard practice for Amazon FBA sellers. If you don't think that you're going to be able to mark up your items by 200% in order to get it to sell, it's probably not going to be a good idea in order to buy the material, because you're going to have shipping, you're going to have labor, you're going to have all these other things that are going to impact how much profit you are actually going to make. So every time you actually see an item, you need to have that operating in your head. You need to have that context as you approach an item. One thing that lots of Amazon FBA sellers will say is that you want to eventually become an expert in one or two categories. And this is because you'll then start to be the beneficiary of understanding a market. You'll start to understand trends in terms of how items are marked down that you can actually source. You'll then start to understand what people are buying. So eventually what you want to start doing is becoming an expert in a particular category. Right alongside of that same principle is one where you want to learn the markdown patterns in the stores where you're sourcing inventory. So as you go to different stores, or you go to different department stores or liquidation stores or even online sources, learn their markdown patterns. Understand the seasons. Understand when they're going to mark things down, when maybe they're not even advertising. Those are going to be the best deals that you're going to be able to make, because in some cases you'll be able to negotiate before they actually even make some of the inventory available to the general public. So learn the markdown patterns in the stores where you are sourcing your inventory. You need to start thinking about where you can find discontinued products. Not every retailer, not every store does discontinued products, but some stores specialize in them. You want to find out what those stores are. You want to find out what those locations are, even if they're not necessarily fully in your local area. Understanding where these discontinued products are can mean the difference between you sourcing lots of sellable products on Amazon FBA or having things where you don't really have a lot of margin. Discontinued products, you'll typically be able to get them very inexpensively, and they're going to be able to give you that margin and give you the opportunity to get that 200% markup that we just talked about. Liquidation and surplus stores. Now, these will vary in your particular area, and they might be called by different names. Typically, you're going to have a local retailer that is the primary liquidation store in that area. You want to get to know their patterns, and you want to get to know even management in those stores, so that in the cases where you're going to walk in the store, and there are going to be times when you may take all the inventory that they may have off the shelf, it might look a little strange to the manager. So you want to make sure that you have a good relationship with those managers, with the people that are working there, and then you want to know what they typically have. You want to know when they get their shipments in. Get to know these stores in particular, because these are going to be the places where you're going to be able to get good deals. And again, the best deals you're going to be able to get even from these stores are going to be unadvertised. So you want to be able to get some of those things either after a sale has happened, maybe it's been unsuccessful, or before it goes out to the general public. So understand and really take note of the liquidation and surplus stores in your local area. Now, a number of expert sellers report that when they buy from liquidation houses, typically they'll end up having to buy a pallet. So this is the kind of thing where you're going to be able to walk in and buy a shelf load. You're typically going to have to buy a pallet load. It's probably going to cost you thousands up front, and it is going to cost you some storage. So being able to get that merchandise, get it to Amazon quickly is going to help you to be able to avoid storage charges, and it's going to help you to be able to keep your house clear in order to continue to run your FBA business. So when you approach liquidation houses in particular, just understand you're going to be getting big quantities, and you're going to be paying thousands up front, and you're also going to be dealing with storage if you cannot move it quickly. So make sure that you have a plan. Now, one of the other things that you really want to start thinking about is that profits in the FBA business are typically seen from that inventory over the course of a year. So if you're looking at your results from month to month, you may or may not see a trend where you can actually predict what it is you're going to make. If you have inventory and you've had it and it's been selling on Amazon FBA for over a year, then you'll start to have real data as to what it is that you think a particular item is going to do, how well it's going to do, how profitable it's going to be. So start really analyzing your results over the course of 365 days rather than 30 days or a month or 2 months or even 3 months in some cases, especially when you're just getting started. You can also buy out discontinued and available stock from online retailers. And so what you want to try to do again is you want to try to avoid the same interface that all the other retailers are using. Always try to make a telephone call. Always try to get to talk to someone in person. See if you can get the email address of someone who is actually behind that online retailer, because that's where you're going to be able to talk to that person, find out exactly what quantity they have, negotiate a deal, and sometimes you'll be able to walk away with a better price than everyone who's approaching that same website online. So again, be ready to try to clear out anything that you see that's discontinued online or even offline. Now, one of the things and tips that a lot of FBA sellers do over time in terms of sourcing is they consider hiring virtual assistants. And this really helps them to be able to, again, find those deals online, to get the phone numbers, to get the email addresses, to be able to do some of the legwork that they're not able to do and don't have time to do. Well, these are the kinds of things you want to have your virtual assistant do, to find all of the deals in a particular niche that are online, to be able to track them down, to be able to get a sense for what's available and then what has your required markup. So hire a virtual assistant as you start to grow your business, because again, that virtual assistant will be able to consistently get you better inventory, better deals, and it will help you to scale up your business. Consider hiring local sourcing assistants. Now, this is the same as a virtual assistant, except that this person will be in your local area looking for deals. They'll be the ones at the surplus stores. They'll be the ones at the retail stores. They'll be the ones talking to the managers. Of course, you want to set up a pattern. You want to set up what it is that you want them to say. And of course, they're going to be acting on your behalf. So you want to make sure that when you're paying a sourcing assistant, that you almost have a scripted way of them being able to interact with people so that, again, they can get the best deal with minimal input from you, and then bring the inventory to you that you'll be able to use in your Amazon FBA business. Now, these tips are for you that will help you to source better. It'll help you to source more effectively. And again, to find the inventory in these places that we're going to be talking about here in this course. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.